And hello. I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to Frontlines. I'm here with,
Tank.
and we're here fighting the good fight on the front lines. So, how's it going with you today? Any good news?
No, not well. Lots of good little news, but nothing to do really with funding. However, tomorrow is Monday, and I do expect that this charade cannot go on forever. And I know the transfers were set to go through and should be cleared on Friday/Saturday. And really, Kim's transfer should clear instantly, to be honest, because it's real time gross settlement, and she'd actually overhaul the banks and hold all their trust. And let's face it, the banks are basically just a cesspool of negativity at this point. So they ought to be very grateful that she's transferring anything into them at all. But nevertheless, I do expect that to break through immediately. I actually expect to break through tomorrow. Or I hope it breaks through tomorrow because you know what? Every time I listen to anybody who inspires me, who has integrity, who has great ideas, who is out there in the world right now, and they're doing amazing things, I notice a common theme. They're all doing it with almost nothing. Struggling to get by, crowdfunded, whatever. They're always just barely scraping by. They never have quite enough to get the job done right. You can't quite overcome the waterfall of toxic mainstream media. And I just can't wait to just say, hey, here, let's keep going. Here's some working capital so you can breathe. You can hire some staff to get more work done.
Yeah.
I just feel like that theme is so more than it's ever been. I've ever seen it where you have so many people struggling through that same situation. And
so I've built companies that we'd have I don't know 30, 40 employees in them, and everyone moving. I never got into the hundreds of employees at one time. But always there was a time where I was wearing many hats and getting things up and running, and eventually I get to take a hat off and put it on someone else, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, boy, I got so many hats now. I don't even know how I can. I need a hat to that I can use to put hats on other people. I don't know. I don't know if I remember how to delegate at this point. So. It's very, very challenging, but it's okay. We're taking these steps, try and make something happen, and we're being successful, and even as I was just describing to you, the situation with what I'm designing, right, and that in itself is going to be generating a very good amount of money, right? And and I've designed it to provide money for others that don't have and can't build can't do much, right? So, but this is a world of change. We're experiencing. You sent me a video also of was it Robert Kennedy's son that is speaking out against vaccines. How they cut his mic off, but the people in the audience were saying, "Let him speak," right? And it was that energy of standing up, and the people standing up saying, "No, we're not going to take this. You're shutting off the mic." No, this is we need to hear this information.
Yeah, I mean, I like when somebody yells out, "We have the right to assemble," right? And they all pull to the side, And I just thought about the power of that, of asserting your rights, because we have the right to assemble grand juries. We have the right to, the way that it works. And people do is we go from God or source to.
You're a little muffled, Tank. You're a little muffled.
All right.
That's better.
Okay, better. Okay. It goes from God to the people. Then there's the Constitution. Then the government is there to enforce the Constitution for the people, right? And in agreement, in alignment with God. So really, the people are, levels above government the way it's supposed to be. And but if the people do nothing, we essentially sign off to say you're doing a great job. Continue on your path of genocide. We consent, right? But we don't consent to your genocide. We don't consent to you poisoning our children. We don't consent to you trying to impose, known, toxins into our children, right? And we actually, I got a tip from I got a letter sent to me. It's a copy of a letter from well, I guess the CEO of Merck basically acknowledges the harmful side effects or something like that of Gardasil, right? And so it's like, well, if that's the case, why are you still making it? Why are you still imposing something that is obviously going to do harm to our children? So this is where the question comes into play. Well, what's your intent? Because the only conclusion any logical mind can draw is, well, your intent must be to hurt the children. But that's so foreign from what we would accept to be real. We just couldn't even fathom that. Like, no, that can't be it. So
Right.
we factor that out. Now, our failure to consider that as an option is what will allow it to happen. Right? Because we've considered all other options. There's no logical reason why. Look, there's toxins in these things. We know that. There's no studies done on vaccines that show any kind of, there's no blind, like placebo type of a true clinical trial. When asked recently at the CDC, one of their events, is there any studies done? The CDC themselves said there's no time to do studies. We have too many vaccines. It's like we're too busy counting money and killing you off to do a test on this. It's like basically what they're saying. Right. So when you start to think about this, what's the logic behind imposing these on a free nation unless we're not free, or your intent is to enslave us, dumb us down, and have us work, basically the slave mines and whatever it is that you need us to do, right? Whether it's we're going to be processing data or whatever, it doesn't matter. So at some point we have to challenge the actual story and say, what exactly are you doing? Are you controlling the population growth in a planet that can easily, handle 100 billion people? You're going to try to control it? I mean, ridiculous.
I bet we could handle trillions of people, literally. When you look at actually what is developed or not in the world, I really don't see that we're, we're not even on the water, which is 3/4 of the planet, right?
In my humble opinion, I agree with you, Dan. Plus some. I actually believe that if the subterranean beings came together with human beings, this planet, Midgard Earth here, with being a living, breathing being itself, I think if all these beings came together, it's never happened before. So why not be the maverick? Why not be the trailblazer? Why not be the first in this part of the cosmos, in this form of existence, to do it?
Well, life brings life. I mean, the more the living energy of things that people coming together and creating, having more, we actually can create life. I'm not saying that we don't have issues to solve along the way. Obviously, we don't want to pollute, right? But pollution does not mean breathing, right? CO2 is not a pollutant, all right? So, there are things we definitely don't want to have just floating around in the water or in the air, but we can take care of these things when we have a focus to do so, instead of focusing on vaccines to poison and kill off people. Focus on these things that, we don't need to burn fossil fuels. How about that? Now, carbon monoxide is a pollutant, not carbon dioxide, but carbon monoxide. Yeah, that is something that is dangerous. But the system of the world can handle that, though, too. I mean, it will take these things and it will process them. The world, will process them as a living being.
Well, I also, my theory on this is that I actually believe the planet will expand as we expand, because I just think that we're an expression of the planet. I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's where all the elements that are in the earth are in our bodies. And I get this from talking to this gentleman, John, who came out and said, you know what, man, he's got proven studies, clinical studies of curing 7,200 people from AIDS and actually built up enough antigens and antibodies the way a vaccine's supposed to work, right? But doesn't, to actually fend off the disease itself, to ever come back to it. So he ends up immunizing them against AIDS, right? Immunizing them against cancer. Now that is how the body works. That is what should happen if your body is in harmony with the planet, right? It's working properly.
We also, if you notice it, Trump has recently been saying that we're going to cure cancer. Right? In the next 10 years, I'm sorry, not cancer, AIDS. He said we will wipe out AIDS within the next 10 years. So, I mean, he's very confident of that. It's like he already knows the answer, and it's just a matter of distributing it, right? So, this is something that we're gonna see more of, as we win. I'm not tired of winning.
That's right. I am not. I would. Well, I look forward to winning and actually being able to function in the world. Actually allowing money to come in, because it really is at a point now where it's nigh into ridiculous, right? Like it's like, what are we doing here? It's who's left in the banking industry to block anything? At this point, it would appear that all your major factors that have been in the way have been removed. So I have to believe that now the focus that we all need to really consider is being the first ones to wake up, right? Your job is to wake other people up, right?
Right.
And to decide what you want the world to be. And you're very fortunate in the sense that you get to be on the cutting edge of this and really have a say, right? Because you get to decide how you're going to run your business. You get to decide how you're going to treat your employees and, the kind of technology you're going to bring out. And, are you going to continue to sell something even if it's bad because it'll make you more money, but it's going to be at the cost of other people? Or are you going to actually start to consider the impact of everything you do in reference to the power that is latent within you? Because that's a big difference from what we've had the opportunity to do in the past. Because everything we've had to do up to this point has always been about survival, right? And as much as people, anybody you've ever heard, you take any get-rich story, oh, this guy found this or that, they always get taken out. They lose everything they have. It's because they didn't bend to the will of the order, right? You're either in their club or you're nothing. And the Rothschilds in their like family newsletter, they actually came out and said that President Trump is the biggest threat to the new world order.
Yay!
All the things that we were talking about.
Bad comic skit.
Yeah.
I know, but it's true. It's crazy, right? So, anyways, man.
Well,
I wanted to bring something up. Dan, go ahead.
No, I just say I hope that we are just a big a thorn in their side as Trump. That would be the goal, It's like, well, we're to end the new world order.
What new world order? It sounds like fragments.
Yeah,
well,
they're not fragments. Well, their structure is a little more intense, and above, what we might that we see. We see the fragmentation in like the Nancy Pelosi and them flailing around, not knowing what to do. But they have a structure, right? And that structure has existed for a long time, thousands of years. So even if you just look at what they've built in the last 50 years, since World War II, and even just the look that they were pushing Nazism inside the Ukraine, right? It's just amazing, that it can't be seen by the normal news, what people see every day. It's all hidden. It's kept aside. It's only through our word of mouth and our talking with others it gets out there.
couple of points I wanted to bring it up since you actually just reminded me. It's perfect. I don't know if you gentlemen have gotten your hands on a copy of a book called The Pale Horse by William Glover, I think. Interesting stuff, real interesting read in regards to the control structure. But on the more serious of the two, I just got this as a heads up from someone in chat at humansarefree.com. FDA, over 6,000 dead from puberty blocking drug for transgender children. That's why I mentioned the website, humansarefree.com. I'm on a phone. I have no idea how to screen share or look into that. So I actually decided, hey, I remember something about folks don't really like the FDA too well. So I saw this.
I've heard that before, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I know my memory ain't that great, but I know my head trauma ain't that severe.
So what was the name of that website again?
Humansarefree.com.
Humans Are Free.
No, I'm not just jumping on a title here. I'm just bringing it up, considering what's been going on with the fishiness over numbers in regards to kids and things like that.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if those are paid out. I mean, if those are real deaths. First of all, who in the hell would have a? Why is there a puberty blocking drug? I mean, it's crazy.
And on top of that, bringing up just the two words together, transgender children. It's like, hold on, I know I brought this up before, but most children don't even understand the concept of that. It doesn't occur to them. So where are these folks getting the drive for that kind of agenda, man? I mean, so it smells like something the FDA would cook up, but again, there's been a lot of distraction stuff popping off lately.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking for it right now, man. I don't see it. Hey, man, text me that if you can.
Yeah. So
I mean,
I'm not finding it
yeah.
either. I mean, I see a lot of things on their site. It looks like a very interesting site. So.
Yeah, but I wasn't trying to derail what was going on. I was like, I saw this. I need to get this out while I have a chance to before Google's algorithm kicks me off the Zoom call a couple more times.
Well, here's one of the ones that they're saying. It's like 30,000 kids arrested under age 10 since 2013. Right, that's one. Fake families found at border. Children brought across border onto to feed sex trafficking networks. UK police investigated transgender being turned down for a porn role as a hate crime. Yeah, that's a hate crime. Yeah, I hate to see that.
It sounds like they're attacking children and gender itself.
Yeah, they are attacking gender. They want to eliminate gender and make you feel guilty for being one of the genders. I mean, it's so diabolically crazy what they're doing.
My humble opinion, it's just something don't smell right, something don't feel right. I could feel in my heart something.
I mean, come on. This is the problem right here that we have. It's like everybody's lost their damn mind. It's like, come on. Like we're talking about taking kids, right? Like kids, like. You know, my 6-year-old runs around with her shirt off. Nobody cares because she's a kid, right? It doesn't matter, you know.
Right.
Like they don't have any sexuality. To even try to impose sexuality on a child is, by its very nature, is a form of perversion and pedophilia, right? It's the same technique and tactic that dirty old men use to, talk to a child about, the joys of having sex with their kids, and they don't even know what sex is. I mean, this whole concept of sexuality, it's not a racist, or they try to make it a racist. They try to make it some kind of bigotry because you're not allowed to. Now they're trying to impose in churches, which are, the churches now have to endorse gay marriage, right? Or Beto O'Rourke is going to come in and bore you to tears. Nonsense that he's talking about, right?
Right.
Like things like this. Like you're not allowed to have an opinion on anything, because if you have an opinion, this is what they're trying to beat out of you, right? If you have an opinion, you are against the movement that's currently happening. With this whole deep state, liberal fascist garbage that they're trying to put out there. At the end of the day, what they want is everyone to be androgynous. We don't want any uniqueness, any individual opinions. We can't live together if we have different opinions of one another. We have to be at each other's throat. Their whole methodology is divide. Divide
and conquer. A house divided against itself cannot stand. And it's funny how those tables are literally being turned. A brief little interjection. I know I just mentioned it to Dan, but Hank, I believe someone in the chat also telegrammed you the details, you guys, in terms of that site and what was going on. The same person that's in.
I'll check right now.
Yeah.
Other than that, what's details? Other fun tidbits you guys got?
Yeah,
oh man, we got so much going on.
Yeah, I've got the link.
Oh, cool. Yeah, throw it up. Man.
All right. Well, I got. It takes me a little longer. I have to make a screen.
Oh, right.
And the dropping of hammers.
Yeah, just send it to me. I'll throw it. Take 2 seconds. Send me a telegram.
I'm in the middle of making a screen, so that if I stop to
do. Sorry.
Then it's just the same thing.
It's all funny. Well, anyway,
okay,
so
I got the screen up now.
This whole thing is collapsing now. You know, the whole process that they're trying to run against us.
Okay, so
and
I've got it here. I will go ahead and share it as well to you, so you can see what is being broadcast. All right. So so again, it's humansarefree.com. 2019 FDA over 6,000 dead children from puberty. So that's for transgender children, like they can identify them, right? So,
someone screenshot that name right there, the med, that Lutron.
Where's it at? Oh, this one. Oh, this here's what you mean. This right here.
Oh, run.
Yeah, Christian Post reports.
This is from the FDA that's saying this?
That's what it looks like.
Wow, that's a big confession.
Let's get them. National Liberty Alliance, I bet, could use some intel like this.
Yeah. Wow, you know what? Now, how do you justify that in reference to how many people does gender dysphoria kill?
Right.
0. That's
right.
0, right? A kid that's confused is like, a kid that, is a kid. I mean,
right.
come on.
Yeah, they're not going to die from
ridiculous.
it. They're not going to die from it. So, a drug used to block puberty in children with gender dysphoria is responsible for the death of over 6,300 people, according to the Food and Drug Administration. The Christian Post reports Lupron is being prescribed off-label for use in children who have been diagnosed with gender dysphoria, despite the lack of formal FDA approval for that purpose. The drug is clinically approved for treatment of what is that?
Despite the formal lack of?
Yeah, but I don't know what this precocious puberty, a condition where children start their pubertal process at an abnormal early age, and the blocker is administered for a short time until the proper age. That outcome continues. Citing the FDA
I'm
data.
going to call bull on that one. Smells like another piece of kid.
So basically what's happening is in the other vaccines, the 72 vaccines that are mandatory, there's all types of things in there, right, that are going to, all types of hormones and other things that are causing early onset puberty, right? So like, girls in the 6th grade, they look fully developed, right? Which obviously they're just still a kid, right? So you can imagine your 6th grader looking like a grown woman, is not something everybody's going to be comfortable with. So, I'm not. I watched it happen when I was a teacher. I had a 6th grade student who was a baby. but she looked like she was, you know, a woman.
Tank, you're super fuzzy.
Yeah. So basically, you know, these
Hello.
yeah.
Hey, Dan, scroll back up. That actually said something about gender dysphoria is not a something like it. What it sounds like is they're again like just trying to divert what is a wrongful diagnosis.
Right. You know, right here they're saying that it's not an endocrine condition, endocrine condition.
It says it's a psychological one.
Yeah, it's a psychological condition. So
my question would then be: is that possibly via trauma inducement, violent acts against children?
Oh, sure. There you go. Yeah, they're creating the situation.
I bet you a lot of the cases are going to be that way.
Well, you know, I'd like to point out that IPOT, In Pursuit of Truth, Sir Patrick Mack, he's been really on the connection between the psychologists, using these brain chemistry type of drugs in relationship to these children's agencies and groups, and how close they are situated to one another on the map, right? And he said, you know, literally they're like next door to one another. You know, that it's almost like it's planned out because it's repeated city by city by city, and then connecting in by tunnels. So that this is you know their part of their operation is figuring out this blood-brain chemistry, and how you know these psychological breaks can be manipulated, you know, and then they use more chemicals to kind of create the situation that they're looking for, whatever that is.
Yeah, I mean, this has been the plan all along, right? You're taking people and you're saying, okay, what can we use them for, right? So if you're a sexual deviant, pedophile, pervert, right? You have a lot of money, you know, you're willing to invest a lot of money. It's like, hey, how can I make it easier to rape more kids, right? So you basically want kids that are going to be just docile and do whatever you want. So now Michelle Walker had incredible research on this. I mean, like, you know, we haven't even really watched this in service, but that actually shows how these kids go into child protective services. And, you know, Ron Davis talked about how, you know, some of these kids, they just die from depression from being separated from the parent, right? The grief that they feel. And because, you know, they're telling them all types of terrible things, like your parents are unfit, you're no good, you know, your mom's this, like, you know, they don't want you, all that kind of nonsense, right? And which is devastating. It's devastating for a child. I mean,
they're turning the parents against the kids and the kids against the parents.
Why is Willie Lynch how to make a slave, right? So
I'm living proof of that.
All right, so you get the kids and you separate them out, and now, okay, so what do? Well, you drug them up, right? So now they don't even know what's going on, right? That you take a kid when their mind is developing and you introduce, you know, neurotropic, you know, drugs and various other toxins that are, you know, and they already are infected with all types of damage from aluminum. And we have a microbiologist now who's working with us, right, who worked for the CDC for years, and she's, you know, able to actually go in and break these studies down for us and show them this is what's really happening. And it's alarming. I mean, like, you know how like everything we talk about some days is alarming? It's like that on like speed mixed with cocaine and steroids. It's insane how much worse it is than I can even imagine. Like, what gives any human being the right or the concept that this is okay? It's insane. So that whole thing, it's just got to fall apart dramatically too. You know, you've got to let people wake up because it's just inhumane any other way. We can't manage this, right? You can't manage you know, if you're drugging a whole population of people, you can't manage that in an organized way. Sorry. You got to stop it immediately. There has to be injunction.
Yeah, shut the mechanism off and work on natural, organic reintroductions like the individual, the food alchemist suggestion kind of things, and let, again, like you're saying, let these folks wake up. I think actually you even suggested this to me a while back. Meet folks where they're at.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You got, look, and I'll tell you, I use this example all the time when it comes to the Messiah. The first thing the Messiah did when he came into town, he didn't go in to start preaching the gospel, right? First thing he did when he came into town, he fed the people, and then he healed the people. That when he walked into town, that's why everybody followed him, because they knew, look, we keep following this guy, he's going to feed us, and we're all going to stay healthy, right? And then he would share their message because they were in a place where they could hear it, Now, that's what we have to do too, right? So imagine the messianic duties, kind of, not as a savior either. See, the difference between what will actually work versus what has failed in the past. The savior syndrome doesn't work because then everybody's dependent on that person. Now, that's what they love, right?
They're all dependent on something external.
Right. But if you empower people, right, and you empower more people, the impact of what you're doing is so much greater. It's so much bigger. That's why the Messiah said, greater works than me shall ye do. Why? Because, well, here's the difference. In that time, he was just waking people up. But in our time, we get to power people up, to actually put them out and say, go forth, like you can do this. You can do it. Whatever you imagine that you want to do, that's possible. And right now, we're in one of the last stages where we're ever going to have to wait like this. So whatever stage of poverty we're in, right, like appreciate that and remember how it feels. Because you're about to go to a stage where anything is possible, right? And not because money's going to be falling from heaven, because that's not how it's going to work. It'll be an opportunity for you to actually access the incredible ideas and concepts and, motivation and will that you've always had, right? It's always been there. It's just been suppressed because that's what we do naturally as a protective instinct. When we don't think something's possible, we suppress it. But when anything's possible, and that's the place you're building from, imagine what can happen. If like what does it say in the Sons of Our Wars? Like, imagine if I did all that I could, right? Just that by itself. Now, if everyone started doing that, that's where we're at. And all these things that they've done to just deafen the frequency.
That actually reminds me of what you were saying, a Bruce Lee quote, pardon my interruption, keeping it positive vibes, right? Bruce Lee would say, and I think it's in his Jeet Kune Do or Kung Fu school, using no way as way and having no limitation is limitation. Meaning, you are the way. It's not a specific way. It's not a this way. It's not a that way. You don't do it someone else's way. You do it your way in the best way you know how to the best of you're making you, And then no limitation is self-explanatory, There's no limits unless you limit yourself. So with what it sounds like, just make sure I'm keeping up here, is that with the abundance that is waiting to take place, for those of us that want to literally become the change and manifest for others and continue on, it sounds like we're in the final stages of getting things together.
Yeah, man, I think so. I mean, even Thomas, can be, very guarded with his comments, right? I mean, as far as like conservative, he was saying things are going well. When Thomas comes out,
I don't blame him with as much as he's been getting attacked. Holy crap!
Yeah, I don't know, but I know that this whole thing is it's a process, But my point is that Thomas is very positive, and very uplifting about where we're at. So I think that's very encouraging, because it's hard to look at all this stuff. It's hard to look at it all the time and talk about it. It's something that it consumes a lot of people, and a lot of people get desperate. But we're just right now is the right timing for all of us. Right. We can actually step forward into a better way. And you're looking at it just right, Andrew. I would say, in my opinion. I love that. Anytime you can quote Bruce Lee. I thought about this. Like, the time for, incredible people, right? Like Bruce Lee, who are like, like superhuman. I mean, guy, I don't even know what Bruce Lee is, but nobody does the things that he did, even playing ping pong. The guy was incredible, right? But what happens when you have somebody really incredible, do incredible things, it's what you expect, right? It's like, well, of course you did. I mean, like, look at you. Like, you have a talent and a gift that's, it far supersedes that of the average human being, right? But what's really amazing is when you just see regular people. Now, that's what we are. These are regular people, right? Like, regular people with regular lives. Now, seeing regular people do amazing things. Now that is what inspires the masses. Because then everyone realizes, I can do this. See, and that is the thing that the order has always been so afraid of. They never wanted us to realize, we can do this. We can do this better than you. And that's been part of the reign of mediocrity. We've lived in this time where mediocrity has been the king, right? It's never been the goal to do something exceptional or that is in the best interest of humanity. Or we don't want free energy. We don't want healing technologies, right? What we want is economic stability. And we want, the status quo to maintain. That's what they're fighting for. So everybody, and they're failing so miserably at this that they finally saw, like, okay, look, we're gonna do away with them reproducing and stop. Like, that's the mentality. So they're amping up, they introduced They introduced antibiotics in 1950, right? So when you introduced the antibiotics, that first round of people, I mean, it was terrible. People were toxic, dying everywhere, right? It was awful. But by the second generation, their bodies had already adjusted to the antibiotics, right? That's how incredible the human body is, right? That they already adjusted. So now, antibiotics are normal. Now, that's not what's best for humanity, right? That's not what's best. But it speaks to the ability, the adaptability, right? Like, like the Marines, adjust, adapt, and overcome. That is speaking about the nature of humanity. So so even though they keep trying to kill us off, they keep trying new ways, new methods. The worse they get, the stronger it shows us to be. Now, when people realize, when you take away those poisons, you take away those things that are just constantly dragging at us, constantly pushing at us, the destructive frequencies that surround us in all these different factors, when you take them away, what does humanity really look like? And that's what's incredible, that we get to be a part of, that we get to define what that looks like.
I may briefly, it actually reminds me of something I was talking to a friend, a fellow THI friend, and he mentioned something about that. I don't remember the guy's first name, but it's the guy, Levashov guy. And I heard it was one of those Levashov stories that when he was a kid, he had cut one of the veins in his wrist by accident, like a main one. And it speaks to it's funny, the willpower, the force of will of the true essence of a human being. Supposedly, he was only a couple miles away from, or like a mile or something like that. But by the time he got to the house, though his arm was wrapped up in like a T-shirt and was in blood, when his mom, that's how his mom caught him. But when she pulled back the bandage, his wound was completely healed. It was gone.
Wow.
He had basically, this is what I've heard. This is like, and I haven't looked into I don't have access to Levashov stuff. But from what I've been hearing, these little tidbits, what it sounds like, again, is what I've been personally suspicious of, which is every human being, if they learn to harness their will, can do some incredible stuff. And again, use the Green Lantern reference. Imagine if you had that ability, a mechanism, a device of sorts that would help you and inspire you and empower you, and then you could take that out in the world and say, I will this into being, and then, oh crap, it's right there in front of you. You want to will an end to homelessness in a region. You think it into being, it's gone, it's done,
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
That's where my head's at with it.
I don't think that, I think that tool is us, right? It's the alignment with our heart and mind with God, our source, right? It's, your spine works the same way, right? Like, your spine is just your brain that is, extending down into your body, right? So you could compare that to liken unto the principle of, God coming down into the flesh, right? So you have this principle that exists right within your own body, right? I mean, because God or source is kind of this abstract unknown, the ultimate substance, source, limits, bounds, essence, origin, all things, right? Well, that is very similar to what you might describe your own imagination, right? Everything started with a concept, an idea, a dream that you had, that you generated from something that you wanted to come into existence, that you just imagined. Now, that's exactly what's happening.
That sounds like using the visualization process, by the way, like exercising it, if it were like sets in a workout.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the first time I ever started really understanding how to manifest anything was I was a college wrestler. And I mean, we would constantly be trained on visualizing the match, seeing yourself win the match. But the piece that was always missing, and I didn't understand until years later, was understanding the feeling and the connection of what it is as if it is already done. Allowing yourself to feel the joy, the victory of winning, and already feeling that way. And
I think go ahead, sorry.
No, I mean, you can actually bring those things into existence by doing that. Right?
The late Dr. Dwayne Dyer was saying, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
Yes.
Well, I used to do this practice before I'd leave to go shopping at the shopping center, grocery store. And I'd get in my car and I'd stop and I'd just visualize my parking spot is there. It is there, right? And so I'd arrive and literally someone just be pulling out, or it was vacant, and I just pull right in, right? And I did this for, like over probably 2 years, right? And then I said, one time I said, why am I doing this every time? My parking spot is always there. So I didn't have to stop before I left and go there. It's like I'd go there. Now, if I found myself in the parking lot circling like a vulture, I would be thinking, wait a minute, why is my parking spot not there? What am I what am I thinking about? And it was always something that was troubling, some negative energy that I was dealing with, emotional something or other that had this negative thing, had to do with some sort of fear. And that's what I broke it down to. So as soon as I realized
so it was like
that,
kind of blocking you a little, or what, like blocking your positive energy or something?
well, it uncreated what I had created, right? Fear basically is the mind killer.
You negate the charge.
You negate it, yeah. So you uncreate as fast as you create.
Right. And and then when you're surrounded by frequency and fear, and frequencies of fear and disappointment and worry and doubt and lack, it's much easier to fall into that. Now, the opposite is true as well, right? If you're used to you're used to winning, you're used to getting a parking spot, you're used to things going your way, right? And you spend less time focused on how, they're always trying to keep me down, they're always doing this. And the less time you spend focused on that, and you start to really expect that everything's falling into place, right? Everything's coming your way, everything is already working, then you start to look at yourself as an intentional creator, where you're actually bringing things into existence.
Bingo.
I think about that all the time. I was never really into Abraham Hicks until recently, but a couple of things that I've heard said from Abraham Hicks, I'm like, I misunderstood it. I didn't appreciate what was being said. But I love that idea that we're made in the likeness and image of our Creator. So if we're the offspring of our Creator, then we should be creating. Matter of fact, we are creating all the time. This is one of the hardest things that I think it'll be for people to realize is this only exists because we have allowed it to exist, right? These circumstances and limitations, they're only here because we are the masters of limitation, right? We've mastered it, but we're the ones who put the limits on ourselves, right?
Right.
Now that's hard. You can't really blame people for things from the past, but when you start to realize, time and space is an illusion, but we're existing. Everything is right now. Your power center is in this moment. The decision you make right now to sign off, endorse, believe, feel this way and feel that encouragement within yourself is where you are most powerful right now, because everything that you have ever done in your entire life happened right now or right in that moment. It wasn't later, it was right then. That's what it means.
Yeah, that moment of now. Whether it was a now of then, a now of later, it was some form of now.
Right.
So really, it's, for me, I would imagine that what that sounds like is the now never ends.
Right. You live in a perpetual state of now. Time and space are illusions. Traveling from one end of the planet to the other end of the planet is not limited by the space and the distance that we have to travel. And it doesn't take any time. We can be there instantaneously. And you know that's true because you had moments where you wanted to talk to somebody, and as you were thinking about them, they called you, right?
Yeah.
Because you were just communicating with them directly. And then come to find out they were thinking about you. And now but in that moment, you had the same topics on your mind. And the more you start to think about ideas, the more those ideas start to manifest into reality without just effortlessly. People just show up in your field that have the answer to the thing that you were looking for, right? Or you just figure it out all of a sudden, even though you might not have any experience with it.
And that's also why I caution some of my friends, give your mind and your brain two separate things. Give them respect because they are tools that aid in the source being you, the endless creativity in physical manifested form. To be able to create and manifest things, you should be aware of how you think about things and go about them. I don't know who it was by, but it's something to the effect of a man is what he thinks about all day long, or becomes what he thinks about all day long.
That is absolutely right. So, I think about this. I mean, I spent a majority of my time just thinking and considering and appreciating what it will feel like, what it feels like to know that I don't have to worry about money. Just that by itself. And what it enables me to do personally is because I'm not worried about money, because I know, now, granted, no one would believe that because I half my life for the past 4 or 5 years, or all of my life for the past 4 or 5 years, been about money and money. But in that time, I realized, it's not about the money. The money is just a manifestation of the energy, right? And look, it's really incredible when you look at what can be accomplished with no money at all, right? No money at all. We have people right now who I guarantee will hear this all over the world. I mean, Dan's in the Philippines. I'm here, right? We know that when we speak, our words, they're more than just words, right? They're ideas that have been brought into shape and form. They are the manifestation of our energy into a metaphysical, shape and form that's creating a picture, an image. And as I speak, it's creating an image in your mind that is different from the image in my mind, but it doesn't take away from what I'm saying. All it does is expand it. So now, the one idea has expanded because it's touched you in your heart and in your mind. And then as you repeat it, it does the same. And then as we repeat this process, inevitably someone will have to take action. And action, right? I mean, because what you think about is what you make matter, right? What you talk about is what you're telling people matters to you, right? So in reality, what you act on, what you think about, and what you talk about, you make it matter. You
literally turn it into matter. Yeah, you manifest physical matter.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
what kind of news, by the way, were you guys talking about? You guys mentioned you had some stuff, and we went on this really beautiful metaphysical manifestation talk.
Man, it's all the same. It's all the same. Bad guys doing their things, good guys trying to fight it. It's all the same. Look, at the end of the day, these things, to be honest, these distractions that they feed us, they're just that. They're trying to cause division amongst the peasants so that we stay deaf in frequency. You know what? It's time for us to get unified behind principles that we can all agree on. That's why we started this conversation. Like when Dan and I first started talking, it was about food, water, or food, water, air, and each other. Right? It's simple. It's simple.
Five essentials, right?
I mean, those are the first four things we talked about: food, water, air, and each other. But there's more, right? We agree on so much more. We agree that gravity works, right? It just works. Now, granted, I know we can have an argument about this philosophically, and we can talk about physics, but gravity works, right? For the most part, like, not many of us are going to test it, right? We all accept it.
I'm against gravity.
Under certain conditions, it can be changed a little.
Right. Conversation accomplishes nothing, right? You want your kids to do that? Go test gravity? I mean, you want them to go jump off a cliff to see if it works? Right? But at the end of the day, we all kind of agree, like, you know what? Yes, that's true, conceptually speaking. But in the reality we currently exist in, let's talk about what's here right now in all of you. We don't have to wait for everything in politics to change, for the republic to be reinstated. The magical money to fall from the sky. We don't have to wait for all that. Right now, we already agree on it. And if you could just collectively pull in that energy, what do we agree on right now? Because what we agree on right now is, okay, I know we're going to keep using money for a while, right? Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Like tomorrow, we're not going to be like, there's not going to be some giant wave of energy that flows over the planet and we're all just like, man, kumbaya, everything's great now. No, it's not going to happen.
Don't need any
that way.
money.
Because if it did, it would negate all of the work that we've done to create what we've already created.
Yeah.
The reason why we exist in time and space is because we are creators. We are an expression of source. And as an expression of source, we wanted to go through this experience to appreciate the creative process. So in this creative process, we have to realize that's true. And that we can be intentional creators. So as intentional creators, we know the money's going to be here. You know what? We also know that we would all agree. We don't want to make sure everybody has a ton of money. Like, I don't need any more rich guys having more money because they've had enough money and they did nothing with it. So, but what I can say is, you've got a great idea. Can we all agree on that? We can all agree. If you have a great idea,
I don't agree on that.
Why shouldn't you have the substance to bring to life? We can all agree on that. And then I'll bet you everybody listening right now, you're not listening unless you have a great idea or a big heart, right? Or you're just kind of person who's just about to change. All those things. Can we agree those people need money? Can we agree that people who are nothing but love, everything they do is an act of love? We can take care of them. Let's make sure they have money. People who say to you, I don't need much. Those people, they're very sweet, right? Look, I don't need much. I just need this. I just want that, but I want to be part of the change. Those people, oh my goodness, you should have that. You should have. Can we all agree that, like, we want to take care of our mom? Right? Can we all agree? I mean, even if you don't like your mom.
Yeah, sorry.
You should be allowed to take care of your kids. Your kids. These
How
are
about, shouldn't we all be able to, like, rest easy knowing that every person on the planet now and going forward will always have the 5 essentials, that there's no more struggle and starvation, that kids aren't like sucked up with a distended stomach. I mean, I can really kind of visualize that. What I wanted to suggest to people and to my own friends, not just people watching here, is that use our minds and visualize what does a world of abundance look like around you. What would your neighborhood look like if you were trying to will in this kind of abundance? For people like myself living in certain areas that might be considered poverty, visualize everyone finding in a state of peace, abundance, balance, happiness, and wanting to in turn do that for others around them as well. It's almost like an infection in the most pure, beautiful way possible, having only one goal to bring prosperity, Yeah.
I mean, I love the learning process of watching someone come to a revelation about something, right? So I'm okay with not everybody knowing yet. I'm okay with the intentional process of, hey, let's take the time to come to this at your own speed. I'm not about to, I've got people that come to me all the time with, like, we have an amazing builder, we're going to build 25 million homes. I'm like, the hell you are? Like, because first of all, I'm not giving anybody the power of 25 million families, right? But then on top of that, you're going to take 25 million people, put them in a home that's 1,000 square feet, and they're going to be miserable. People by nature need room to expand. So it's not. It is the 5 essentials is no brainer. I mean, these are just given. It's like breathing. Like you can't tell somebody they don't have the right to breathe. There's no air, right? Like you have that right, of course, right? And it's this stuff is available here. What should be the right of everyone is what is available here on this planet. We should have. How about that? Everybody should know how to keep their body healthy, and we shouldn't even have options that are killing people. Why is an option in medicine, to poison our kids? Why is that an option that you're trying to make mandatory? Like you shouldn't even bring that up to a vote. It's like being at a like we're all sitting around getting ready to vote on something, and one person's like, "Hey, we have the cure to cancer," and then someone else says, "Okay, do you guys want to do the cure to cancer, or do you want all you can eat is scissors?" Why is all you can eat is scissors an option against curing cancer? These things are not comparable. Just like it's not comparable to hide the cure to cancer when people are dying from it.
Right.
That should not be an option. It should not be an option. But
And it shouldn't be an option to quiet the people that are trying to bring about those quote unquote treatments. Remember, we can't say cures.
I'll say cure. It is a cure. And they could go to hell if you're going to try to tell me I can't say cure. That's ridiculous. Man, look, I've forgone that kind of nonsense. They think they could tell me of my freedom of speech that I can't cure cancer. They can go to hell because that's my right to life. They're not taking that. That's my constitutional, fundamental right given to me by God. They can't take it away. So if I get sick, I have the right to cure myself. What are you going to tell my body not to do it? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get our bodies not to listen to us. Just like, I just read this, Randy Muggins, never remember how to say his last name, but Randy posted this. It was something from Dr. Emoto, right? And this person took their water. This wasn't Dr. Emoto, but they were referring to Dr. Emoto. And this guy he didn't feel good, so he talked to his water, and it was a minor thing, like heartburn or something. He's like, "Look, please go in and resolve my heartburn. That's what I need right now." He drank the water. Half an hour later, he was fine. Because water is programmable, right? It's programmable. It'll do what you want it to do. Your body is 90% water. You don't think you can tell your body what you want to do? What you want to look like, to feel like, to act like? Of course you can.
And if water's programmable and you can use your speech and mental, picturing it to manifest it, it sounds like the guy spoke it into being and the water was a catalyst that went internally and made it happen.
Right? But it's just an extension of you. And it's funny, most people don't even realize this. This is why people used to say grace, right? You take the time before dinner. I mean, I'm saying I know people still do this, but this is where the idea comes from. Before we eat, you just take the time to say thank you. And you appreciate the love and that you're with family. You put all that energy, right? And you take that moment of meditation. And what you're doing is, whatever might be wrong with the food, you're putting your powerful spiritual intent on that food to do its best possible good for you and your body. That's grace. That's what it really is. Now people dogs will be like, "Oh, Christians are good." Like, we all want to act like we're better than somebody else because we see something different. How about you just look at the principle of what's beautiful about it? Look for the beauty in everything. And when you start to look for the beauty in everything, what you realize is how beautiful everything is. And when you start to look for beauty and see beauty in everything, you know what happens? You start to look better too. So, I'm just,
I appreciate that wisdom. That's beautiful, bro.
Man, that's little things, right?
That reminds me, man, that people didn't. I seem to see it too often these days. You gotta appreciate the small stuff, man. Just like how they say, don't sweat the small stuff. Well, on the other side of that coin, or whatever you want to reference to be, is appreciate the small things, man. Believe it or not, big things may not have happened if all these little small things had taken place. Like if you want to make a big change happen, don't you think you've got to start somewhere? I mean, come on. There's another little reference. How the hell do you eat the big elephant? One bite at a time.
That's right. Man, I got this great comic strip I drew years ago, and I drew this big elephant sitting on top of a guy. And I put at the bottom, I'm like, it's hard to ignore the elephant in the room if he's sitting on your chest. That's reality.
It's also not time to tell the elephant to go on a diet. Tell him to get off your chest.
Right. Like, it's no time to negotiate with the elephant and tell him that he's, he's gender neutral. It's, there comes a point where
what is what's the elephant's preferred pronouns?
Yeah, I know. I watched the most useless liberal. I don't even know what it was. It was like not that I'm against liberal human beings, but it was a liberal convention, I believe. And they were like, yelling things out from the audience. They're like, stop using gender bias pronouns. And then some guy got up there and he goes, I noticed that no one's clapping. That's good because that could shock us from the trauma we've been through. Like, what is the trauma that you've been through? Living your hipster lifestyle in California where it's nice all year round. What is the trauma? There's people that have gone through real trauma that you've never known. They just keep on walking, do amazing things. They take the same, horrible experience somebody else had, and they turn it into magic. There was this story written years ago about these twin brothers, right? They were both black, and their father, he murdered somebody and he went to jail, right? And so they grew up, and the one became a very, very successful lawyer, lots of money and all the things that we would measure success by. He was successful, right? And had white kids. The other brother, he got in trouble, he killed somebody, went to prison. When they interviewed both these identical twin brothers, they were both asked the same question, how'd you do this, or what? How'd you get here? Their answer was both the same, because of my dad. One took his experience with his father and said, I will never let that happen. The other one took the experience with his father and said, he's the reason why it happened. And I just feel like I ask myself that question every day. Every bad experience that happened to me, I look at it and I look to see how that makes me better. All the time.
Yeah, I made the choice back at 7 years old that I would not become like the members of my family, pretty much all of them, the elders in my family, the violence that I had witnessed myself and my siblings go through, including what happened in group use of foster homes. The whole time I would always remind myself, that I had went through some serious stuff and that this was temporary.
That's right. I mean, this whole existence is temporary, and there's really nothing we need to be intimidated by. Perspective changes everything. When you look at somebody who's just got an incredible understanding that you feel like it dwarfs yours, right? You feel so small because they are so intelligent. Whenever you feel that kind of intimidation, just imagine yourself rising up off the earth and looking down and seeing, if you were just able to see the difference in the understanding, you'd realize how small it really is. What a small gap there is between the most advanced and the least advanced. How similar we really are. And when you see that, you realize you don't look at people and ever get intimidated. Because you realize just because they happen to be an expert in a certain area, they're not so far above you. You just haven't got that part of you yet. That's what's amazing. And I've watched that happen over and over again. I struggled all the way through my bachelor's. I was struggling to just graduate. I graduated with a 2.4 GPA. And I was an art major. So you can imagine, I was an art major, you should have definitely a higher GPA, right? But I just struggled with school. And I always dealt with that. I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I was smart enough. But what's amazing is that over time, I realized, I just didn't know how I learned. I didn't understand and realize I could learn. And once I learned how I learned, it was everything in life was done. I guess everybody goes through that at a different time. But if you realize you have that now, and you start to ask yourself, what are the programmed behaviors that I have already accepted as real? You'll find out those things are the things that you have decided are your limits, right? And they're usually fear-based, right? You start with something like, I would never do that, or I could never do that. or that's not for me because of X, Y, or Z, which sometimes that could just be sound judgment, but in a lot of times it's not. It's something we want to do. We just have decided we can't. And I've just decided there's nothing I can't do. That way, I feel like I leave everything open.
That actually reminds me, like how you're bringing up this fear and the kind of the illusion aspect of it, right? It reminds me of an abbreviation I heard once of what the word fear really stands for, like false evidence appearing real. That it's a product of our imagination causing us to, quote unquote, fear things that at present haven't happened and they may not ever show up. And that supposedly fear, like of other things, is a choice. Like someone's choosing to turn a blind eye to witnessing something heinous happening or something like that, or choosing to stay quiet, stuff like that.
Yeah. No. There's this political correctness in our culture, right? Where when we see things that are wrong, for the most part, we keep our mouth shut, right? 'Cause it's not our business. And there's like a famous story about this, serial killer in Manhattan going down to Queens Village on like 14th Street, which is like a real busy street. And the kid's running down the street, buck naked, covered in blood. Guy behind him is running behind him with a knife. And windows are wide open back then, right? Everybody's windows can see the guy running down the street. And what every single person on the street did was close their blinds. And many of them, when interviewed, said, "Well, we thought it was a lover's quarrel," right? And they all turned their back on this guy. They didn't think it was their place to interfere, right? They didn't want to get killed. They didn't want to get hurt. They didn't want to, somebody else called the cops. And that guy just ran down the street, killed the guy in cold blood, dragged him back, cut him up in pieces. And all those people just stood there and let it happen. Now, my attitude is kind of the opposite. I'm like, I don't care. When I'm somewhere and there's a bunch of kids there and my kids are there too, and I see your kid acting like a damn fool, I'm going to talk to your kid just like they're mine.
But same here. It's like this natural inkling because I'm not talking down on anyone's parenting skills or anything like that. I'm not saying nothing about that. I'm saying, like, in my opinion, I see something like that. I would actually hope the other parent would be more tuned into it. But yeah, no, I would speak up if I said something or saw something as well. It's like, hold on here, man.
Yeah, for the most part, I'm careful. I'm wise about it, but for the most part, if once you tap into a frequency, you realize like a lot of the chaos going on around us, we're in control. We get to decide where we live. And that's what I think we should be doing right now, collectively. I truly believe that, this statement that Kim made, that she got, just kind of woke up and Kim will get messaged sometimes in music or other things like that. But this particular statement I love. I love this statement she made about when the walls of Jericho are at your feet, you will know that it was me. And for me, when I hear that, I can feel the energy from Source just ringing in my chest, just empowering us, not looking for someone else to do it. But you'll know it was me, even if it was you, even if you brought the walls down yourself. The reason why you're able to is because you are an extension and expression of God, of Source, of that light, of that power, of that divine nature, of that energy. That is what is in you. When the walls come tumbling down, it is because of the frequency that you are a part of and that you created. Because of your belief, because of your action, because of your words, your intention, your heart, your mind, because of the world that you wanted to create. That is what tears down the walls of Babylon and Jericho. That is what takes it down. Not any one person, but the collective of that. And that's exciting to me. So I would say focus on, not on the walls of Jericho being torn down, but realizing the walls of Jericho are down. And we get to take the kingdom and build it into whatever we want. We don't have to use bricks. We use magic and love for that.
We kind of, so to speak, get to become that kingdom.
Look, that is exactly what the scriptures say. It says, thy kingdom come. Right now, thy will be done. Now, thy kingdom is the king's domain. Now, if you are spirit, soul, and body in a body, right? So in other words, you are a spiritual entity that lives, that is taking up habitat in a physical body. That's what the Apostle Paul said. He said, "What know ye not? That your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit that is in you." So your body is the kingdom for the Holy Spirit, right? Or the temple, or the place, the dwelling place of God. Right? That's all. So we are that. We are an expression of God, but we're an individual, unique expression. Right? And that's just, that's amazing. Amazing. So, Dan, sorry to go off the rails there, but
No, it's okay. There's no rails there. It's we're all here doing what we need to do. We start talking about manifesting and having things happen. We just need to take these steps. People need to have that expression, of hope, and understanding of how, and then put them together, and we just start moving in this direction that makes us create that reality.
That's right.
It's all part of the lessons, right? So, I'm happy where we're going. So tomorrow, a fantastic day. The bank's open.
Banks are open. Banks are open, and you're at the triumphant finale in the moment when humanity was liberated by humanity. That is a monumental moment.
Monumental.
We once were those who kept our own chains on. Now we are responsible for removing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're good. Anything else we should touch on? I mean, we kind of like missed a couple of things in the political scene, but it's all right. They'll keep till tomorrow.
Nah, I'm good, man. I think that's great. Good night.
Well, the only thing I need to manifest is a few more donations. My electricity bill is off to be paid today, but I still got Wi-Fi. another 2 days to get that one taken care of. And so anything, please, it be much appreciated what you can do. And then after tomorrow, it won't matter.
I believe that's the case.
I know it's the case.
There you go. Exactly right. No, I know it.
So, as far as I'm concerned, even more positive reinforcement of it. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Their when has come and gone. Our when is rapidly approaching.
Our when is here.
It's now.
It's here.
This is
now. Yeah. Okay, get off the show. What are you doing talking about in the future?
The future you never quite catch it, do you? So with that being said, Dan, I'm very happy to be able to pay your rent, and I'm very happy to get Andrew Collins into a better neighborhood, and you know what? And I'm really happy to go do some things with my kids tomorrow. So I'm very happy about all those things happening right now. And everybody, you have a great night, and wish everybody the best.
Yep, speaking life and love to everybody in the chat. You guys are all incredible. Thanks for being part of this.
All right, bye everyone.
Peace out.